Now it's time to turn on and tune in for your full dose of proper dope news with Bill and MJ on the Pod Report.
Tonight, we look at the zero-tolerance drug driving regime that punishes sober drivers and fuels a costly testing industry. Australia's drug driving laws were sold as a road safety policy. But today, they function as something else entirely. A zero-tolerance cultural enforcement system. And now, with some states pushing for reform, the cracks are finally showing.
For years, THC has been treated differently from every other substance on the road. Not because the science demands it, but because the culture around cannabis was never allowed to evolve.
Here's the core problem. Roadside saliva tests don't measure impairment. They measure presence. And THC can linger long after any effect has worn off.
So a medical patient can take their prescribed dose at night, sleep 8 hours, drive to work sober, and still lose their license on the spot. Not for how they drove, for what their biology still shows.
Meanwhile, alcohol has thresholds. Sedating pharmaceuticals are legal to drive on unless impairment is observed. Cocaine isn't even routinely screened. But cannabis? One detectable trace, and you're treated as a danger.
That's not science. That's policy asymmetry. And it's been baked into the system for decades.
And there's another layer. The commercial one. Police forces buy hundreds of thousands of single-use saliva tests every year. The more tests they run, the more kits they need. It's a recurring revenue stream, and it grows when detection is prioritized over impairment.
This doesn't prove wrongdoing. But it does explain why reform moves slowly, even when the evidence is clear, and the public isn't asking for zero tolerance.
But here's what's changed. Some states are now actively lobbying for updates, pushing for impairment-based models, medical patient protections, and consistency across substances.
Because the current system punishes medical patients, regional drivers, workers and parents, low-income communities, and anyone who uses illegal treatment that stays detectable longer than it stays impairing.
If road safety were the goal, the laws would focus on behaviour, not residue. They'd align with evidence, not stigma. They'd treat cannabis like every other substance. By risk, not symbolism.
Zero tolerance isn't a scientific standard, it's a cultural one. A holdover from an era that refused to see cannabis as medicine, or its users as citizens.
Policy built on stigma can be replaced by policy built on evidence, and with states finally moving, that shift has already begun.